Hey everybody, welcome back. Long time no see. I've been totally slammed with work and YouTube doesn't pay me enough to do this full time, but I find myself with a minute and several people have been begging me to do videos on the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We have three basic areas. Number one, we're going to talk about why defamation, slander, libel, that kind of cluster of cases is extremely difficult for any plaintiff to win, and why the deck is inherently stacked in favor of the defendant. Second, we're going to talk about why Johnny Depp might actually have a little bit of a chance here, and some indications that we've had from some early motions. The deck is still stacked against him, but he's gotten through a couple of the early hurdles. Third, we're going to talk about what I, looking at this from a lawyer's perspective, actually think is going on in this case. So as always, if you're enjoying the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. As always, we start with a lawyer joke. A man walks into an attorney's office and asks what the attorney's fees are. The attorney says, "It's $200 for 3 questions. The man says, "Don't you think that's a little bit steep?" The lawyer says, "Yes. What's your third question?" Now, without any further ado, let's talk about the first area. There are several reasons that winning a libel, defamation, slander case for a plaintiff, particularly a plaintiff who's a public figure, as in this case, is really, really hard. And the paradigm case on this is New York Times versus Sullivan. It's a U.S. Supreme Court case from the 60s. And that said that in order to succeed, the plaintiff has to prove actual malice. What does that mean? That means that you have to show that the defendant said the defamatory statement with knowledge that it was false, or with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. That excludes several things. Number one, it excludes opinions. So if I say, "My mother-in-law is not very smart," that's my opinion. That's not a fact. If I say, "My friend Bob smells funny," that's an opinion. That's not a fact. That can't be true or false. That's my opinion. Second, it excludes things that are true. So if I say, "My mother-in-law kicks puppies," if she actually kicks puppies, I can't be sued for libel, slander, defamation because it's true. Third, it excludes honest mistakes. So if I say, "My brother is in prison for selling crack," if I think that he's in prison for selling crack and I truly believe that to be the case, and I'm not reckless of the truth or falsehood of it, etc., if I make an honest mistake and truly believe that that's the case, even if I am in fact mistaken and the thing that I am saying is in fact false, it's not libel, slander, defamation. Another reason that these suits are really hard for plaintiffs to win is that you have to show causation and damages as a result of the reckless or intentionally false statements made by the defendant. So the plaintiff can show, "You said a thing that was not true and you knew that it wasn't true, but it didn't hurt me." Well, maybe I can get an exemplary award of $20 or something, but I'm not going to be able to collect real damages like the $50 million that Johnny Depp is looking for in this case, or the $100 million that Amber Heard is countersuing for. Why is this the case? Well, consider a car accident, right? My car hits your car, you get whiplash and breaks your neck or breaks your leg, blah, blah, whatever injuries you may sustain. The causation there is very clear, right? It was a car accident, you have physical damage, the thing happened, causation's obvious. This is speech going out into the public marketplace. It's much, much, much harder to show that the damages that the plaintiff suffered were a result of that speech by the defendant. And you saw this with Amber Heard's motion to dismiss, where they cross-examined Johnny Depp's accountant, and they made the argument that his revenues were declining because the movie performance was declining, not because of any defamatory statements that may have been made by her. And that motion to dismiss was ultimately defeated, but we'll talk about that in a minute. In any event, the thing you need to know in the first part of this is that libel, slander, and defamation are inherently very, very difficult. This is one of the hardest lawsuits that you can prosecute as a plaintiff. So you might ask, why is Johnny Depp doing this? We're going to talk about that in part 3. Now, For part 2, we're going to talk about this motion to dismiss that Amber Heard's team put forward in the trial after cross-examining his accountant and etc. Now, we talked about this a little bit before when the Travis Scott lawsuits survived a motion to dismiss, and the result of that is that some judge somewhere thinks that it's not completely ridiculous to sue the guy. So keep that legal standard in mind, right? The legal standard for a motion to dismiss is that there's the tiniest little bit of evidence, some small thing that a reasonable jury might be able to find for the plaintiff on, or the defendant on the other side. So in this case, they put his accountant up, go through his finances, yada yada. Then Amber Heard's team said, hey, Johnny Depp's finances were declining because his movies weren't doing very good. It didn't have anything to do with him being kicked off of movies and banned from Disney and banned from this and banned from that as a result of this op-ed, the truth of which can also be a defense, but it didn't have anything to do with that. There was no causation. There was no A causes B, right? There was no car wreck. This was just the op-ed existed over here, and his movie performance was the cause of his financial woes, and the two had nothing to do with one another. That was their argument. The judge disagreed with that. The judge said there's at least some small little bit of evidence, maybe a lot of evidence, maybe a little bit, whatever it may be. That's not what you're deciding at that point. But there is at least this much evidence that a reasonable jury could say, you know what, we see a connection there. So that doesn't mean Johnny Depp is going to win necessarily. It's still really, really hard to win a defamation, libel, or slander case, but the judge is saying there's at least some possibility of him winning. So let's talk about part 3, which is what do I really think is going on here. And I've kind of been staying up with this, watching bits and pieces of the trial here and there. I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down for hours and watch extended blocks of the whole thing. But watching it, my sense is that they're very much playing to the cameras. And I think the point of the trial is the trial, more so than the actual verdict. And let me clarify that a little bit. Both of these people are multi-millionaires, right? Johnny Depp is worth over $100 million. Amber Heard is not that, but multi-millionaire. These are both incredibly wealthy people. I don't really think it's about the money. Because, hey, maybe you get a $50 million judgment, you appeal it, and then it gets settled, and blah, blah, and you end up with 5 or 10 million, maybe if you get everything you're asking for. More than likely, you get a whole lot less than that because the jury decides to split the baby or something like that. My sense is that the point of this has a lot to do with the trial being televised and some sort of plan to clear his name by Johnny Depp, and I would say based on the reaction of the internet, it's probably working. So I'm going to put up a few clips and memes to kind of drive this point home. The first thing that I have here is a clip of Johnny Depp jawing over hearsay, and we can talk about what the hearsay rules are another time, but clearly very charming, funny guy. Let's play the exchange about hearsay.
Do you have a drinking problem, Johnny?
Objection calls for hearsay. What the
A
doctor?
different question, Mr. Depp.
Yes. Let's let him object to another one. For him to cook. That's hearsay, I guess.
Go ahead. I know if the sheriff's offered for the truth of the matter, sir.
He got it. That was me.
Okay, all right, well, then,
I'm learning.
there you go.
Let me put it a different way. He'd had a conversation with Ms. Heard.
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Let's move beyond the
All right, let's move
conversation
on.
that
Certainly.
Kevin Murphy had with Ms. Heard.
He said, yes, they had. Okay. And it appears that Ms. Heard had told...
Hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm not sure.
This is apparently a statement by Ms. Heard.
That he was.
described to Ms. Heard that...
I'll move to strike this as hearsay, Your Honor.
All right, I'll do that. Next,
And I appreciate.
Sorry, it's evidence.
Sorry.
next question, okay?
My former business managers were quite
Objection.
disturbing.
Hearsay.
I believe he said he showed him.
Yes, yes, I looked at papers. Maybe they're hearsay papers, I don't know.
Now, in that exchange, you can see he's he is making fun of the defense attorney. who's seemingly objecting to every other question before he can get 3 words off as hearsay. The jury probably finds that as entertaining as we do, and it probably endears him to the jury. But at the same time, the jury's going to get an instruction from the judge at the end that says you're only allowed to consider things that were admitted and were not stricken by hearsay or some other objection, yada yada. You have a solemn duty to follow these rules, etc., and so forth. The American public is not going to get those instructions, and the American public is going to take Johnny Depp making fun of the defense attorney with his, copious hearsay objections, and make memes out of it and drag Amber Heard's name through the dirt, which I think is kind of what he's going for here. Here's the second clip, which is about the cocaine box, and I just don't even have any words. This is let's just play the clip.
This picture, you recall, Mr. Depp, was taken in or around March of 2013, after you had fallen off the wagon, right?
I'm sorry, what date?
March of 2013, I believe,
March
right?
2013.
Does that ring a bell?
If March 23rd, I had fallen off the wagon from when I was doing Lone Ranger, when Mr. Harris was with me when I was sober.
Okay.
But that was the whiskey that's on the table was an average. Every day I would come home to her place and there would be a glass of whiskey waiting for me.
And you would sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings too, right? During this time period.
Isn't happy hour any time?
And that cocaine, those white lines, those are cocaine. That's cocaine, right?
I would assume. It
Yeah,
looks
and
like
that's your cocaine that you kept in that box that says property of JD with the skull and crossbones, isn't it?
Well, the beautiful composition of the photograph would suggest that, certainly.
Yeah. You don't dispute that.
I don't see me in it.
No. But you don't dispute that you carried cocaine in that box that said property of JD. That was a special box that you carried cocaine in, wasn't it?
The box was a gift from someone. I can't say that I carried cocaine in it, no.
You can't say that you carried cocaine in that box?
No, but it looks like it would fit some cocaine. Cocaine is, in my experience, normally given in plastic bags. When you put it in a box like that, chances are very good you'll leave a trail of a long line of cocaine behind you, walking down the street. So,
why don't you go ahead and pull up your UK testimony, please?
Now, the next clip again is Johnny Depp again making fun of the defense attorney who just continues to ask the same question of, did I read that right? Did I read that right? Did I read that right? And you'll see some memes about this in a minute, but that's not for the benefit of the legal record or some sort of appeal process, right? That's, I think, more than likely for the benefit of us watching this on the camera.
An article entitled, "Where Did It All Go Wrong for Johnny Depp? After a string of flops and a ton of bad press, Johnny Depp's star power looks as wobbly as Jack Sparrow on a plank." Did I read that right?
you read that very, very well.
The next one, Hollywood Reporter, May 27th.
And now we have, yes, October is in fact 2 months before December, which, I mean, again, let's play the clip.
Out loud if you can answer it.
October is 2 months before December. That's correct.
And last but not least, we have the infamous mega pint. I don't know what that is. If you know what that is, or if you have context for this question to make sense, let me know in the comments. I really question why you would ask a question like that. Anyway, let's play the clip.
You poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint.
Yeah.
I poured myself a large glass of wine.
Right.
I thought it necessary.
Right. We're going to fast forward in time a little bit, Mr. Depp.
Yes, I can feel it.
I think it's important to, since part of my read on this is that This is really about pandering to the American public and kind of getting some justice in the court of public opinion more than the actual court of the courtroom. Let's put up a meme about Amber Heard pooping in the bed, which I have no words. Then we have another meme that's poking fun at her lawyer. We talked about that a minute ago. Let's put that one up. And last but not least, we're going to end with this meme, which I think really is emblematic of the entire trial process here. And in my sense, is sort of the point that this whole thing is building up to at the end of the day. I think if Johnny Depp gets a judgment for $1 or gets a judgment for $5 or something like that, or even if Amber Heard gets a take nothing, both parties go home, I think he wins, and this is why. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll try not to go quite so long between the next video, but I've just been incredibly busy, which is a great problem to have, and I'm super thankful. But keep subscribing, and I'll try to give you all some more content. Take care.